Assistant Secretary General Elizabeth Solomon, thank you so much for sitting down with us ahead of the CARICOM's participation in the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. And this marks a very significant milestone in global diplomacy, 80 years of multilateralism. However, you pointed out when the Secretariat met for the 2025 Work Program Review and 2026 projections, the stark environment, the complex global environment in which CARICOM is situated. And you explained the impact of the situation in the Middle East, the war in Ukraine, the continued multidimensional crisis in Haiti, the rise of multipolarity, and the complexity in which we find ourselves at this time. So, the first question I have for you is how does CARICOM continue to navigate amidst these conflicts and ensure that its concerns remain on the global agenda?
Thank you for having me. It's always good to chat with you ahead of these very important meetings in which CARICOM it's a significant opportunity for CARICOM, but we continue to play a really significant role. Yes, I think you've pointed to the complexity of the current environment in which the UN is now celebrating 80 years. What I can say is that while the multilateralism is being severely challenged, there are opportunities still, and CARICOM continues to operate in the multilateral environment and continues to have a very strong profile in that environment. You know, CARICOM is the envy of many regional organizations because we have such a strong and proud history of having a common approach with a group of sovereign states. And that is quite significant. We don't have a common foreign policy. We agree on what is the best thing for each member state and for the collective. And we continue to do that. And I don't think that that can be shaken as easily as we would like to think. Or, you know, it is coming under some attacks, some challenges. But we are going to enter the UN General Assembly at this 80th anniversary strong. And you're going to probably know that we have the 24th special meeting of the Council of Foreign Ministers. It is a very important opportunity for the foreign ministers to have a discussion around the issues and it's going to take place on the 22nd, which is before the high-level week starts. So they can enter the week prepared and sure of what are their common positions on certain things, and what are the complexities each member state is facing. So, you know, just to summarize, I think where we are strong and entering as a multilateral space with a strong CARICOM still.
The last time we spoke, I asked you about the situation on the ground in Haiti. And you did a great job at explaining the impact of the crisis on education, on women and security, etc. What is the current situation? What has changed from then, when I spoke to you in July, ahead of the 49th Heads of Government meeting, to now?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And we are going into the UN General Assembly high-level week with some important opportunities. So what has changed is on the security and humanitarian level for the people of Haiti, it is as dire as it was. It is, you know, the security situation is still very, very difficult. There have been some inroads in pushing back the gangs, but it remains a very difficult situation. I think when we spoke last, I was making the point that the Kenyan forces, a Kenyan-led MSS, never got the resources that they needed. And this has continued to be a really difficult situation, and they've done absolutely the best that they can with some loss of life. We are very, very grateful to Kenya for taking on that leadership. I think the Haitian National Police have also done a fantastic job, but the resources need to be there. So what has changed is that there is now a collaborative roadmap that has been developed between the OAS, and it will be led operationally by the OAS. So the OAS, the UN, and CARICOM. And this is tied to a draft resolution that the United States and Panama have put before the Security Council, which will restructure the way in which the UN supports the issue in Haiti. So there's a lot of discussion that's going to be had in the margins of the UN General Assembly around that new resolution. And that resolution is going to be very focused, is going to sort of restructure how the financing will be dealt with, which has been the key problem. It will mirror to a certain extent the approach that is taken in Somalia, which is a hybrid mechanism. And what is particularly significant is it will be called a gang suppression force. So the focus will be very much on being a lot more proactive in being able to deal with the gangs, while still recognizing the role of the Haitian police and, of course, the role of the MSS and Kenya, which may transition out, but those are details that will come. But I think that's a significant change. And we're seeing it as an opportunity and a glimmer of hope. Then within that, of course, the CARICOM Eminent Persons Group continues to work very, very closely with the stakeholders in Haiti and with the Haitian transitional government to address the issue of holding elections. And so that by February 2026, we're hoping that there can be some kind of clarity on the way forward.
I know that you have just returned from Ethiopia, where we had the second CARICOM Africa Summit. Could you give us an update on the major developments coming out of that? And CARICOM's push really to nurture new, emerging, and traditional relationships within this very complex global environment.
Yes, that was the second CARICOM African Union Summit, but it was the first in person. And that in itself is a huge outcome. It was really a fantastic opportunity to dialogue, for an exchange of views, and for the heads of government of CARICOM to visit Addis Ababa. We did some moving around. Also, we learned a lot about Ethiopia as the host country of the African Union. There were discussions on a number of areas, climate change, for instance, reparations, and the support for that, and common advocacy around that, which is very important. But there was also some discussions around how do we operationalize the CARICOM African Union Memorandum of Understanding that we signed last year in the margins of the UN General Assembly. So it was a very important meeting, and I think a very important opportunity to emphasize the ability for us to collaborate on connectivity, on trade, on people-to-people contacts, culture, and that will be very powerful. I think that South-South cooperation and making it happen was really a real high point, I think, for 2025 for CARICOM.
Yes, and I imagine that the UN General Assembly will provide other opportunities to engage other multilateral partners and bilateral partners. So tell me about some of the engagements the heads of government, you, the Secretary General, will be involved in during High Level Week.
Yeah, certainly will provide a number of opportunities. But let me just add to what I was saying before about our CARICOM African Union Summit. We also had other summits this year, which were equally important. We had the CARICOM Brazil Summit, we had Colombia, We're already in preparation for the CARICOM Mexico Summit. So CARICOM is really engaging with partners in many ways, and some of them traditional, some non-traditional, but we're certainly strengthening our partnerships and actively doing so. And yes, the UN General Assembly is an opportunity to do just that. We have a number of, I had to bring documents to remind myself. We have so many meetings in the margins, which includes issues that we normally follow, like NCDs. There will be a number of meetings on Haiti. The Francophonie group has a joint event with CARICOM on Haiti. There will be also, we will have a high-level meeting with Kenya on Haiti. There will also, of course, be celebrations for the UN 80 that the SG will attend. And the Peace Building Commission has also invited us to speak on an issue which is, of course, very important to us, which is social cohesion and what that means for the region. There are also some other events. So, like, for instance, there will be a regional integration in our Caribbean conversation around a book launch with the Honorable Ralph Gonzalez, Her Excellency Mia Motley, and His Excellency Irfan Ali. And that is a side issue, which, of course, we're very proud to be part of. Yeah, there will be a lot going on.
Yes, and we will be very closely following those issues and hope to have another discussion with you when you return to give us some updates on what took place.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sitting down with us ahead of your travel on the weekend. So all the best.
Thank you. We will come back tired but happy, I'm sure. Okay.